Hi guys and welcome. If you have clicked on my video for the first time, then I really appreciate you being here. If you have come back, I really appreciate all your support and thank you so much for coming back. So today I would like to talk about top traits of being autistic female. So I just want to have a disclaimer to say that you can have some of these traits and not be autistic, and you can have some of these traits, you have all of them. But these are just like the common ones, especially for female autistics. So the first one I'm going to start with is friendships. Friendships can be really hard for autistic women, autistic people in general, I think. Socializing is kind of a strange concept for a lot of us. Some people are really, really good at it. Some autistic people can manage it really, really well, but I think that's down to years of practicing and putting masking in place. So I can make friends pretty easily. Like I'm decent enough at bluffing my way through surface level chat with people and making a connection with people. But as soon as I get past that, I find friendships really hard to maintain. It takes me a long time to kind of get to a point where I feel I can trust someone. And then that's when I start to see whether a friendship can last or not. And I find it really hard to figure out how to keep friends when they start seeing the real me, because I think when you become more familiar with people, you show them more of the authentic side of you, the side that makes you you. And for me, I have got a lot of quirks and weirdness to my personality. And I think sometimes people, it's a bit like they take it or they leave it. And I think that can be quite common for a lot of autistic people. So next one I have on my list is masking. And masking is something that is basically like a coping strategy that autistic people put in place so they can navigate through social situations. They mimic other people, they camouflage, they are basically chameleons in this world, constantly taking mental notes of how other people behave and respond to situations and then copying that. So by the time that we are adults, we are pretty good at it. We're probably really brilliant at being actors because we've done it our whole lives. But yeah, masking is just our way of trying to fit into this world where we feel that we don't fit in, and we are just trying our best to convince other people that we have a place here. The next one I'd like to talk about is a lot of females have intense special interests. And they can vary so much, but a majority of females have something to do with the psychology of a person, reading people as a top interest. So that could be psychology, philosophy, anthropology, anything that kind of thinks about how humans act and interact can be quite an interesting topic for females, because they are trying to learn how to be like everyone else, and that's the best way we learn, by researching and getting interested in other people's behaviors. I love psychology, specifically child psychology, because I think when children's brains are developing, their behaviors they can be so erratic and so confusing. But to me, that's fascinating. I'm kind of like, why are they acting this way? And how do they come across? Blah, 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 blah. Next one, another one is hyper empathy or hypo empathy. So if you are on the autistic spectrum, you can be quite one or the other. I think I have hyper empathy, and sometimes I can feel things that, when people tell me their stories, I can feel it as if it's happening to me. And then, if someone's telling me something sad, I feel really bad because I get really upset and I get really invested and interested in the story. But I've got to realize it's not my pain, it's their pain, and I have to show compassion without feeling what they're going through, because it's not my life. But yeah, another person on the autistic spectrum could be hypo and really struggle to relate to how other people are feeling and not be able to have that empathy ability within their brain. Another one is mental illness, and most people who are late diagnosed to being autistic can have a few other diagnoses under their belt. And it's not necessarily that they are false diagnoses, but that can sometimes be the case, that so many other labels get put in place before the term autism is applied. Sometimes just because doctors are afraid to attach such a negative label to you, but that's because there's not enough knowledge or research done about how to embrace autism, especially in the medical world. Another one is inflexibility. So my ability to change plans is really limited. I can change plans if I've got plenty of time to prepare and absorb and kind of think through all the variables. But if someone else changes the plans, it's really chaotic for me. It's really hard. It's really I like the routine of knowing what to expect. I like things a certain way, and that's just who I am. So being inflexible is quite hard. Another one is literal thinker. I think very black and white, and I think that is the case for a lot of autistic people. Like when you say things that have different meanings, it can be a little bit confusing, or take our brains a little bit longer to process that information, to realise, oh, that's not what you mean, but you mean this. There's so many common phrases in this world that are they don't make any sense, but we use these phrases all the time, and I use lots of these phrases myself, but sometimes my brain's just like, what? It's too confusing. I don't understand where this has come from. I need to understand like the origin of something sometimes. But yeah, just literal thinker, black and white. Everything has to be really communicated to be able to understand it properly. And finally, my last one is meltdowns. So meltdowns can be really, really common for autistics. And actually for me specifically, and maybe other females, maybe other autistic people in general, you can manage really, really well in the outside world. Like as soon as you're outside your house, in society, in job, and in school, in the shops, and then as soon as you come home, your behavior changes dramatically, and you are not able to cope, and you're very sensitive and very emotional, and that's just because home is a safe place and you know how to unpack everything. But yeah, that can be quite difficult. It can be challenging, not just for the person you're living with, but you as well, just to understand how your emotions work, and it is very confusing. So that's me for today. I'm not sure how well I've communicated all this. I will do some more videos on other traits, but yeah, I'm sure you can relate to some of these things, and hopefully it helps you to get an insight into other people's lives who may be artistic and you've never really thought about them in this way. So thanks for watching, and come back again soon.